So sorry, I just had to answer a phone call. So generally, students were accommodating. Some of them had a different idea of what being part of the BAMS program would be like than what it turned out to be. Some of them had heard about open learning as a kind of paano ba to? Yung kaya nila, papasok ka lang sa course and then you have as much time as you can to finish it. It's 3 weeks, a year, and then when you're done, then you can hand in your all your requirements and then you're done with that course, which might be ideal, but that's not the way it works right now. We're tied to the UP system, so we go by semesters. We do have deadlines to observe. It's interesting because there are no, especially for people who have never done online learning before, there were no protocols of conduct that they could base their actions on. And what I mean by this is that towards the end of the semester, after the course had been done, there was a fight that happened privately, but then it was brought out in public by a couple of students who nag-away sila over text, tapos in-email lahat ng mga tao about it, and I was asked to intervene and mediate, and the thing is I was no longer their prof, and it really seemed odd that they would ask me to mediate, and then I realized that I think as a student you get a very personalized kind of interaction with your facilitator, with your moderator, teacher, however you call it, not realizing that the teacher is in charge of the welfare of so many other students. So I guess parang nagiging myopicyung view mo as a student of how many other demands are placed on the prof, and that the intimacy, the kind of intimacy that the internet fosters isn't necessarily the kind of intimacy you want it to foster. I asked them to call me, for example, by my first name. I said, "But don't call me sir," because I was really interested in trying to eliminate masyado maraming hierarchies. And sometimes I think the students took it as an invitation to become intimate, which is very different. I want us to be equals on some level, but that doesn't mean I'm inviting you into my private life. That doesn't mean, for example, that you can stalk me on Facebook and I don't know, find out my home phone number is and call me there. And I had one student call me on my home phone number about a question about the class, and I said, "But listen, this just so you know, don't contact me at home unless it's an emergency." And I don't think it's the student's fault necessarily. I think everything. There are no established protocols for conduct. I mean, meron tayong netiquette, what's loosely evolved as netiquette, and which is still constantly evolving, which is fine. But to have these kind of sustained interactions, na you have that may or may not reproduce the kind of interactions you would normally find in a real classroom. These kinds of situations open up a whole lot of possible spaces. Yeah. What else? What else is there? Tools. I used Google Apps, specifically in Google Sites. Google Sites. It's an awkward name of Google Sites that Google came up with, provided. I use that to deliver most of my course content. I found it really useful as a quick and easy WYSIWYG editor, and automatic creation of navigation links, navigation menus. I thought it was very useful. The one problem with that was that I had to use it online, so if I didn't have internet access, then I was stuck. Moodle at the time that I was using, when I was teaching the course, our Moodle installation was not wasn't capable of handling all the demands of UPOU students. So I avoided using Moodle as much as I could, but I did require students post discussion forum contributions through Moodle. What else? It's a very text-heavy course at the time, partly because I didn't have enough time to prepare lectures, like video lectures, or to gather video content, which I thought would be useful for the course. Again, and a lot of this goes back to my original difficulty trying to find what the parang raison d'être of this course was. I leveraged some of my current work and interests at the time. So, for example, I became really interested in information visualization as the artistic practice, but also as a kind of advocacy, and as a form of communication. So I made a SlideShare presentation of that, and I used that for my class. The final projects that I asked them to do, I think more or less they worked. One group did a live event, which was really great. At the same time, I think that they missed out on a lot of the intellectual content that all the other groups were able to do, or were able to get by doing a lot of reading, doing a lot of writing, which is not necessarily bad. It just means that this group had a kind of a more embodied, lived experience when it comes to dealing with issues about free and open source software, which was what their group's topic was about. Ano ba? Lots more. I've kept notes on the course as I was developing it, so I have some ideas on how I want to change it. Akpet, could you pause?